Hi, my name is Jessica.
And I'm Denise.
And we're
Homies in Retrograde. Hello.
Hi, everybody. We started the year off strong. One podcast in January. It's March.
It's a seasonal pod now.
Listen, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time.
True that.
We're out in the park. We've got people in the background.
Flying
kites. It's a beautiful day.
I will say Las Vegas, the 2 weeks we get of spring before it gets scorching hot is like the best time of the year.
Oh yeah, it's almost time.
We're sliding into that.
For when they like to do that thing where they take the eggs outside and try to boil them. Is it fried? No, fry them, not boil, right?
Oh, on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
What kind of messed up Easter are you having over there?
I keep on forgetting like Easter's so close. I'm just forgetting all the, other holidays besides Christmas.
I mean, you're going on spring break. Isn't that Easter?
Is it?
Yeah. I think the Sunday before you come back, this last Sunday of spring break is Easter.
Oh, so I will spend Easter with my nephew.
Are you guys going to do the bunny hunt? Like the egg hunt?
Who knows, girl? I don't know. When I was a kid, they would do like the hunt at the house with me and my siblings, and they would put candy and money. And one time my brother found the $100 bill and I tried to fucking kill him.
Oh my God. I will say I'm like such a sucker for like anything Americana. Like I never got Easter egg hunts as a kid.
They don't do that in Mexico, but they're so Catholic.
But like the whole bunny thing, I don't even feel like that's a Catholic thing.
No, that's a commercialized thing.
Yeah, so no, we wouldn't have, not that I remember. I don't know if they've incorporated it now, but as a kid, we never had Easter egg hunts. Right around the same time, we had a holiday called El Día del Niño, which is like the Day of the Kid. And we'd have like a little festival. I guess that was technically Easter. Mm-hmm. We would have like a little spring festival, and you were supposed to get presents for being a kid.
I'm sorry, is that not just Christmas? You have second.
I'm not gonna fight it.
Like, that's a second Christmas, man. I'm telling you, Mexico is what's up.
I wasn't complaining, but then when I got here and I saw the Easter egg hunts, I felt very left out. So I think I'll put that on my like inner child healing list. I'm gonna have a egg hunt at 35.
You've never been to one?
Mm-mm.
Never. What? I've been to like a million.
It's un-American, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Anyways, guys. Sorry, we're trying to make these shorter, but moving forward, this episode is called Defining Adulthood. So far, that's what it's called.
Okay.
But that's what we're really speaking about. So, Denise.
Yes.
You're an adult.
Yes,
I guess. I am also an adult. Some people say unfortunately, but... Allegedly. They still card me. But I like being an adult. What do you think being an adult means?
I heard this like quote once. I don't know where it's from, but it was like, being an adult means being able to do whatever you want to do, but knowing when not to. And I really do think that is what it's being an adult, It's kind of sad though, because as an adult, you can pretty much do whatever you want, Mm-hmm. But it's like, could you go to bed at 5 a.m. every day? Yes.
Horrible decision.
Exactly.
You're going to kill yourself.
So I guess what it boils down to me, I think being an adult is just about self-discipline, which is not my strong suit. But I do think that's what,
being an adult means.
Peak adultness is, just being responsible for yourself.
I have some thoughts about this. Okay,
Tell me.
I wrote them down. I think being an adult is being responsible. I think that's a big one. Mm-hmm. Being accountable for your actions and words. Mm-hmm. Being willing to look at things from other perspectives.
But yeah, in an ideal world, I feel like that is it. But I feel like we're getting away from that just by society standards,
Our society,
yes,
personally.
Our society here. We're currently habitating. But yeah, I completely agree with you.
I think a lot of people have, especially grown-ups, have a like they have a fear. I don't know. I think it's millennials. We're millennials, by the way. But they have a fear of getting older, so they try to like, I don't know, mirror youth culture.
Are you
like
talking about
Gen
like
Z.
our generation? Like
Yeah,
millennial, Gen Z, like that little bunch right there?
No, just millennials are trying to like mirror Gen Z.
I was actually reading about this last night as I was like taking notes and stuff. Because I do think there was such like a big shift from previous generations, like before millennials, you know, Gen X, baby boomers, basically our parents, our grandparents. You know, I feel like for them, it was like very clearly defined what made you an adult. That's why right now when you're asking me, I'm like kind of like, oh, well, this, that, I don't know. Because I feel like previous generations, it was like you get married, you have kids, or you start a career.
Check this out.
I'm bouncing around.
We wrote this down. So I always call that like the American social checklist for success. So like Denise is right. Go to college, get married, have kids, buy a house, buy 2 cars. What's another one? Retire.
Have a successful career.
Yeah. Well, some people want to stay home because we're women. So maybe that's like a man thing. But women are like that too.
True. So I feel like for our parents, let's not go too far back, but just our parents, I feel like that was their, you know, the milestones they needed to hit, whether they were ready or not.
Have a career and then retire. So you have to hustle out the horrible. Yes. And then eventually at the end of the tunnel, you get rewarded.
So like, you know, you have a kid, you have a job, you're an adult. It doesn't matter if like you were ready or not.
You're 16.
Yeah, it's like first you did it and then you figured it out. Well, maybe we can come back to this. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you feel like an adult?
Oh, 100%.
You 100% feel like an adult?
Well, I don't feel like I'm successful at it. I don't think I'm successful at, but I feel like I'm an adult.
So you never feel like you never have that feeling of like, because for me, for example, like it hits me. I feel like it's a roller coaster. It's not linear. Like sometimes certain things will happen and I'll just look at my husband and be like, holy shit, we're adults. Like
what? An example, please.
I don't know. Just like it happens a lot, like when we sit down to do bills and I'm like, oh, you're going to move this to the savings. And he's like, we have to pay this, and that. And it kind of hits me and I'm like, oh shit, I'm an adult. Like I have adult responsibilities. Or just random things like, I don't know, just things adults do, I guess. Or to be honest, like, you know, recently my dad passed and I think we talked about this already.
A moment of silence. Just like we did for Denise's dog. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so my dad passed and I'm a 34-year-old lady, right? But when I found out my dad had passed, I think I told you this last time we hung out, I was like kind of freaking out, like, holy shit, I lost a parent, but I'm just a baby. Like, what is happening? So I don't know, I think I find that so interesting that you're like, yeah, I'm totally an adult. Because I kind of go up and down, you know, and sometimes I feel like a full-on adult and sometimes I don't. I'm like, I'm just pretending and I hope nobody notices, you know?
Really? See, I don't have imposter syndrome about being an adult because I know that if I do something wrong, like when I want to do some dumb shit, I go, Jessica, girl, you can go to jail.
That's true.
And that's how I keep myself in line. And you know what? I will pat myself on the back. Pretty good at taking responsibility for my actions. Like the time at work when I almost burnt the building down because I microwaved a piece of Texas toast in the microwave and then went to the bathroom. I came back and the microwave was full of fire. I went straight to the office and I told my boss, I go, that was my fault. I took full responsibility. Then I went to go find my mom who also happened to work at that school and I started to cry.
Honestly, you are a badass. I would have been like, oh no, who did that?
I could have 100%. After the fact, I was like, I could definitely blame one of the kids because it was in the kindergarten hallway. And then I was like, no, I did this and I have to take I'm pretty good at taking responsibility for my actions, even though I like to play dumb sometimes just for fun.
Do you think our parents ever, do you think it was like that for them? Do you think they're like, oh, we're adults? Or do you think they had somewhat imposter syndrome? Like your parents, for example.
So my mom had got pregnant when she was 17. So I think from then on, she had a job and she had one kid. And then 2 years later, she had my second oldest brother. So I think from a young age, she always felt like an adult. I don't think my dad felt like that because my dad didn't have his first kid until he was like 27, aka me, the light of his life. Just kidding. No, that's my brothers. In my culture, the boys count more than me, but yeah, I think my dad, went to college. He has all these stories about how he was having fun in college. My mom, on the other hand, she goes, I started college late. I had to have a job. We were always poor, etc., etc. So, I think different people, their life courses, kind of adulthood sets in at different times.
I find the burden of so adulthood. Interesting, though. Like, you're saying your mom had a baby at 17.
No, she got pregnant at 17. She had the baby at 18.
Okay. She had her baby at 18. That's still like when I think about it, like you are a baby at 18. Like you are a child having a child. My mom had me when she was 22. My parents were 22 and 25 when they had me. Their first child, light of their life. And sometimes when I think back to that, I'm like, okay, if I would have had a child at 22.
Nope, would have been a mess.
I would have had a 12-year-old by now. Like a whole ass human 12-year-old.
And they would 100% be trying to talk back to you and doing TikTok dances in the background.
And I would probably cry because they wouldn't let me join them on TikTok.
But you could be a duo.
Exactly. But just to think of being responsible for a whole nother life at 22 and 18, like, blows my mind.
One of the people I work with at work, she always talks about how she had a kid at like 18 and like, I don't know, responsibility and all this kind of stuff. And when people tell me they had kids at a very young age, I do not judge them because I come from a long line of teenage mothers. But because I'm not old, but I'm like almost 30 and I do not have a child, I go, man, you never got to enjoy. Why are you hiding your stuff? Denise is highlighting stuff.
I'm not. I'm just highlighting what we already talked about. Okay.
Denise, I need to know what's happening over there. Anyways, I go, man, they never got to enjoy things I get to enjoy. So I'm always telling my aide, like, we like to talk about, like, what we're shopping for. Mm-hmm. And I always tell her, oh, I bought new Jordans. I bought new Nike Dunks. I bought all this stuff, all this makeup. And she goes, when I was your age, I could not buy that stuff because I had kids. I had like responsibilities, but you can enjoy that. And I go, yes, I can. I don't know about if I had a kid, if I'd be buying them,
Yeah.
If I could be buying
that
dunks.
That blows my mind. Honestly, also, what a bummer. My mom will kind of do the same thing too.
Hold on, what?
Yeah, like, I find it a bummer, for lack of a better word, just the contrast of like, our moms had so much responsibility and like
at
work
such a
to
young
do.
Age.
Yeah, even at the age we are now, like my mom had 2 kids, your mom had a grip of kids.
Oh my God, already 3? She's almost, at this point, okay, I'm almost 30. She had me when she was 27. No, she had 4 kids. My brother, Jonathan, yeah, she would be having him like around now.
Yeah. Like I cannot imagine that, but I think that goes back to like, I don't feel there's a set like checklist for when you become an adult, because I feel you can get married and have kids or, go to college and start a business and still be a whole ass like teenager on the inside.
Well, it's like a mentality, right? Because, okay, I'm going to bring this up again. We used to work in retail, and I think like being in retail, like I did not leave retail until I was like 25. And being in an environment like that, because there are so many teenagers there, I think I myself, that's why I always say 25 is when I felt like an adult for the first time, because that's when I left that job, because we were around teenagers all the time because they all could work there. Also, I don't know why I worked there for so long, because they paid us like literally fucking nothing.
Peanuts.
I swear to God.
Yes. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think, so overall, I think in most countries, not all, but in most countries and here, at 18, you're considered a legal adult, right?
Oh, by the government? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's an appropriate age to be considered an adult?
Yeah.
Did you feel like an adult at 18?
No.
No, you just said that, right?
But I think 18, I mean, honey, you got to do it sometime. But to be fair, they say you're a legal adult. You can go to federal prison, but you can't buy cigarettes at 18 anymore. You have to be 21. You can't drink at 18 anymore. You have to be 21. Can't buy weed. Or, I mean, in the legal states, we're in a legal state. You have to be 21.
You can't.
Your insurance is shit.
Rent a car.
Exactly. Your insurance is shit until you're 25.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, thinking back to being 18, I was definitely not ready to be considered an adult, but here we are. I think it's good and bad. Like, I do think most people are still very, very young and, like, impressionable at 18, myself included at that age. But like you said, you got to do it sometime. And I do think there's instances where it works out in your favor to be considered an adult at 18, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just for, like, home life situations, or I don't know. But would you change it? Would you change it to 21 overall, or?
No.
Do you think 18-year-olds should be allowed to, like, buy drugs and alcohol and?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you're good where we're at.
Just to say, I don't know. So I don't really have an opinion about this, but I think it's because, girl, let's be honest, we were both doing all those things when we were like 16. So trying to raise it, what's the point of that?
True. So you're saying at 25 is when you felt that shift of, like, I'm an adult now.
Yeah, I think it's because I left retail, so I wasn't around
you got a grown-up job.
I got my first grown-up job. I wasn't around teenagers anymore, so the mentality shifted. I was around people that are much older than me.
Mm-hmm.
When was it for you that you felt like a grown-up? Or you said or like the first time you ever felt like a grown-up?
The first time I felt like a real ass grown-up was probably when I moved out of my mom's house for the first time, or, you know, officially. I think I was like 22, maybe 23. I don't remember. But, you know, I moved in with my boyfriend, and that was one of those first, like, mind-blowing moments where I was like, holy shit, I'm an adult and I can do whatever I want. So yeah, for me, it was moving out at 22 that did it.
22 is. Yeah, I didn't feel like that until I was way older.
Well, I feel like it takes something. Like, for me, it was moving out. For you, it was like your first real grown-up job.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like more than an age or like a checklist, it's an event that always, like, brings that on, I feel.
Triggers
people.
it?
Mm-hmm.
So what used to make you feel grown up when you were younger? Like when you were a teenager?
What I wrote down was drinking and hanging out with older people.
Oh my God.
What about you?
I also wrote down underage drinking and smoking.
Of course.
Oh, I owned a hookah. And that used to make me feel so cool.
Oh my goodness. The hookah days.
The hookah. Did you own a hookah?
I did not own a hookah, but again, why 18-year-olds should not be considered adults. As soon as my friends and I all turned 18, we used to always go to this rundown, beat-up strip club.
Oh, you told me about this.
Because, you know, at 21, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go to bars. We couldn't hang out anywhere cool. So we turned 18 and we're like, what are we going to do? There's a strip club in the corner of our neighborhood. Let's go. They had hookahs there, basically. And we would always go, get a hookah, be there for hours. Everyone hated us because we wouldn't tip the strippers. But I felt so grown up and cool.
Mm-hmm.
Doing something I wasn't
Let me tell you,
supposed to.
So in Vegas, they're very strict about like underage stuff. Even though like all my friends when we were in high school, they would all hang out at the strip. They wouldn't do anything down there. They just walk the strip and bring their own alcohol, which is, looking back, really dumb because the police could just find you. You feel me? But when I was 19, I went to live in Texas for a year. And let me tell you, they were letting me into those bars. Like the bars didn't even have a bouncer. The door was just open. I walked in.
That sounds pretty cool for
They did not ask
teenage
me.
Jess.
I know. They did not ask me for an ID. I used to go to these huge... In Texas, it used to be like really weird because they used to have these huge like warehouses, and it'd be like a hookah bar,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go there with like one of my boyfriends, and I would just sit there and smoke, and then there would be alcohol. How the alcohol got there, I don't know. I think because my boyfriends were always older than me.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned 18, my best friend at the time was dating like a fucking 27-year-old. Okay. And that guy got us like champagne, all this alcohol. We went to his apartment. We had a party.
That's creepy.
That is really creepy looking back. But like all my friends were like dating really older men so we could get shit.
Ain't that the way of the world? I was right with you, and that's what I meant, like, hanging out with older people. Like, sometimes it was creepy older dudes, you know? But a lot of the times it was, like, I used to love going to Mexico for the summers because all my older cousins would, like, dress me up and do my makeup and try to sneak me into the club, and I just felt like, you know, like just one of the gang. I was like freaking 14, 15, 16.
How old were they?
My youngest cousin that I would do this with, she's 6 years older than me. So she was like 22 at the time.
They were really out here.
Yes. And now like we love to laugh and tell my mom all these stories that she never knew. Like, oh, I was actually at the club when you thought I was here. But back then I would have died if my mom found out, which is probably a sign that I wasn't adult enough to do the things I was doing. But I felt cool. I felt like an adult. And yeah, can we talk about I think that's a big thing of how I say I have moments where I'm like, oh shit, I'm an adult. I think that was when I was like, I'm officially a grown up, when I had that mental shift of like, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but yeah, as a teenager, I used to hang out with guys that were way older than me that I should not have been hanging out with.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was because I was so mature and older for my age. Exactly.
They were definitely using us. And you know what? But it was mutual because I was getting stuff out of it too.
I know. It was mutual, but it was so predatory. And that's what I mean. That's when I had that shift. When I turned 20-something and I kind of looked back, like, that's a 17-year-old? That's a 16-year-old? Like, 22-year-old me would have never fucked with a 16-year-old, you know? Like, I looked at them and I'm like, that's a baby right there. Like, that is disgusting. How could these men, like, do it so casually, you know?
And also, they're so, and not to be like, oh, I'm older, you know, I know more. But yeah,
you are older and you do know more.
Yeah. So, like, hanging out, like, even with my cousins who are, like, teenagers, if instead of being like one of the gang with them, I'm like, okay, I'm responsible for you. When we go here, I need you to do this, and I need you not to fuck off somewhere so that your parents don't fucking call me crying about where the fuck you are.
Exactly.
So then I feel responsible for them when we go out. They're teenagers, so they want to be like buddy with me, asking me all kinds of crazy shit, and I go, no. That's stepping over the line. So I make sure there's a clear line to them. That like, hey, I'm the grown-up. If something goes wrong, I'm responsible because you're with me. Instead of being like, oh, my older brother, oh my God, let me talk about him. He's never going to listen to this. So my little cousin is like 14, and my brother was driving him around because he came to visit. And he was like, oh yeah, and he was smoking in the car, like weed. And I was like, oh my God. Because my younger brother was telling me this because he was in the car and he was like freaking out. Because somehow the younger one is more mature than the older one. And he was like drinking alcohol, and he was asking my cousin, hey, do you want alcohol? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, he wants to be a teenager again, my brother. And I'm like, girl, those days are long gone, girl. You're almost 50 years old. I'm just kidding. He's like 42. I'm like, you're almost 50 years old. You're always talking about high school. So I think people develop differently. They handle situations differently. Not to say one is better than the other, but clearly one is. But
But I think that goes back to like all these societal pressures to act and be a certain wage at every certain age.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the millennials that try to act like Gen Z, like, oh, TikTok. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Like I wrote down this quote from this article that I was reading about millennials and their arrested development. It says millennials have a desire to be part of the adult world, but feel stuck in a realm between adolescence and adulthood. Do you think that's accurate?
I mean, sometimes I'll act kind of goofy.
But that's what I mean. I feel like people come off silly and like, you know, act your age. because we have all these societal pressures to do and act a certain way at every certain age. Like, I feel like you can be 42 and be youthful and have fun, but not with high schoolers, or like not in the creepy way that I've seen a lot of men do. I don't want to single men out, but just in my case, it's been men. Yeah. So, but I think that is what's interesting about our generation, that, you know, like we were talking about all our parents, you know, they had kids young, they started their careers.
You know what I didn't know?
What?
I read this article recently. Mm-hmm. I was at the grocery store. I was trying to kill time, so I was reading a fucking Time magazine. It was talking about how millennials are the lost generation because we're stuck in between the world before technology, like modern technology, and the world after it. And I go, girl, I don't feel lost. I feel great. But I sit here as almost a 30-year-old lady with a baseball cap, a backpack that I used in high school, and some sick ass sneakers.
Let's see.
Now, do I look like a teenager? Yes. But do I look like the coolest teenager you ever seen? Hell yes.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. I think millennials started, like, there's a shift happening, you know, as far as like priorities and societal expectations. Like, I don't think Gen Z and the generations after us are running to like have a baby and get married at 18, you know? Mm-hmm. And I love that for them.
I gotta say, me? I don't know. So 1996 is when they start counting millennials. Those are like the older millennials, mm-hmm. Which my brother.
Those are the youngest.
Those are the youngest? Oh, no. Those are the oldest Gen Z people.
You're right at the cusp.
I'm 20, or no, I'm 93. My brother is 95, and he's always trying to fucking sneak in with them. And I go, no, bitch, you're old as shit, just like me. Well, anyways.
In his defense, I do feel like he's right.
At the cusp.
Yeah.
But no, he's stuck with me. Anyways.
He's trying to be a cool youth.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you're an old-ass millennial. Get over here.
Anyways, I don't know. Millennials, I feel like the internet tries to make us be against Gen Z. But I think, you know what? We're just people. We're just out here living. You turn 18, I'm sorry to tell you, in the federal government's eyes, yes, you are a grown-up. Sometimes younger than that. Like 17, you can be charged.
That's a whole another podcast. Don't get me started on the age of consent.
Oh, no, I'm talking about charged like federally as an adult. Sometimes they do it at like 14, right? In some states.
I don't even know.
If you do a crime horrendous enough, they're like, hey, you're grown up. You did a grown up crime. You're going to grown up jail.
You want to act grown? Yeah. I get you.
But when you were younger, when you were a teenager, you wanted to be a grown up, right?
Yeah.
I could not wait until I had my own money. Because let me tell you, my parents, yes, they spoiled me at times, but sometimes a bitch wanted what she wanted and they would say no. I wanted high heels. They'd say no. I didn't understand makeup till I was older. Because they were like, no makeup. And that's another thing that made me feel like a grown-up. When I started using drugstore makeup, because that's all I could afford, and buying things with my own money, and going places by myself. When I started driving, girl, let me tell you, I was skipping school and driving to the mall to get new gauges for my ear, which also made me feel grown-up now that I think about it. Yeah, stretching my ears.
What I was thinking about was when I got my license and I could drive myself places. That was like the beginning of being an adult. Sounds fun, you know?
I was a horrible driver, by the way.
Oh, I still am.
Oh, we have a pigeon friend now. Hi, pigeon friend. Welcome the pigeon to the pod.
It's a pigeon pod now.
Pigeon pod. When did you feel like a grown-up pigeon? Oh, no. They're walking away.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, pigeon.
So, what are your favorite things about being a grown-up? I think you already listed most of them.
Girl, shopping till I drop. Well, responsibly, mind you, I'm not putting myself into debt, but I save my money. And when I feel like I want something, sometimes that happens all at once. I want all these things in 1 month. But, the pigeon's back. Yeah, I would say buying stuff. That's my favorite part. Okay. Having a job.
Having a job is your favorite part of being a grown-up?
I like having a job.
You're plugged in. You're plugged into the matrix.
Oh, driving. I really like driving.
Driving's dope.
Buying plane tickets, traveling, having a passport.
Basically doing whatever the fuck you want, right?
I remember me and Denise met when I was like 20. But it was a couple months before I turned 21. So anytime she wanted to hang out with me, she'd be like, bar? And I'd be like, can't get in. So we'd have to go to all these mutual
See you
places.
next month, then.
Yeah, look at us now. I can go to the bar now. We never go to the bar.
Yeah.
We don't drink.
Pretty much. But yeah, my favorite things about being an adult are, I think it really does boil down to just having the freedom to do like whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of my favorite things is just, it's so simple and so dumb, but just going to bed whenever I want. I hated being told to go to bed as a kid.
They told you to go to bed?
Yeah, your parents didn't have a bedtime for you?
No.
Really?
I had a TV in my room.
So did I.
I had a laptop, and I'd go on that. They would never check. I think it's because I had a lock on my door because I'm a girl in a house full of boys.
Of course.
So I would always lock my door at night.
So did I, but like if my mom heard me awake, she'd like yell at me to go the fuck to sleep. But I remember I had a 9 o'clock bedtime. I hated it. And now I think I overcompensate because I go to bed really late. That's another story for another day. But one of my other favorite things about being an adult is all the pets. I can have whatever pet I want. You know, if I want to get a fucking
parrot,
cobra.
Oh my god, not the cobra.
I will get a cobra. I'm not going to, but I love that I could if I wanted to.
I mean, technically, you could do whatever you wanted.
That's true. I do have some self-restraint. Like, I'm not going to murder anyone just because I can. I just want to make that clear. But I could.
Stop. Okay, no. Cut that.
We do not endorse murder.
I don't need Denise catching a case for like suspicion of something.
That was a bad example. We do not endorse murder.
We
murder
do not.
Bad.
We
murder
do not.
Bad.
Oh my god, now we have a gang of pigeons coming.
Oh my god.
That one pigeon
ADHD is too much right now.
That one pigeon told all his pigeon friends, and now we have a pigeon pod. Hi, pigeons.
Pigeon Pod is a really good name for a podcast, actually. I'm going to write it. I'm writing it down.
Not Pigeon Pod.
Something else I like about being an adult is that, I don't know about you, but I had certain beliefs really, like, enforced on me.
Oh, like religion?
Yes. So when I realized that I can pick my own damn beliefs, that was another time when I felt very adult.
And when did you find that out? Because I swear to God, like 13 when I go, you can change religions?
Same. I was like probably like 15.
I didn't even know you could change them.
I was a teenager. And honestly, they keep changing. I think that's another wonderful thing about being an adult, that you can keep changing and evolving. Some people just choose not to.
Yes.
But yeah, just the freedom of being an adult, you know?
I think so too. Okay, there we go. We both agree. The best part of being an adult, freedom.
Amen.
So we were talking earlier about like the great American checklist for adulthood, like college, marriage, buying a house, kids, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever impacted your mental health because you didn't think you accomplished enough?
I mean, I think my biggest one is I've often asked myself, am I really an adult if I don't have kids? You
really?
know? Yeah. I don't really want kids at this moment. But I think that's the one societal pressure that really gets to me. Sometimes I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone. But I guess when I see, my peers, people my age, like, I feel like other than you, I feel like all my couple friends all have kids, I feel like all my cousins my age are pregnant or having kids, and I definitely have a family that's like, when are you going to have kids? You're so pretty. You need to have kids. As if that is the only thing of value that I can pass on.
You are a lady.
Exactly.
You are an an ethnic lady.
And again, I think it goes back to the fact that our moms and our grandmas, that was their one big life.
Young mothers.
Yes, they were young mothers, and that was a big part of their identity. But yeah, that's the only one that really gets in my head. The kids one. What about you?
For me, oh my God, I would say this, like, all these societal, like, checklists, whatever, norms, I think they probably bother me more than you by the sounds of it. Because, like, I still live with my parents because it saves me money. And also I don't like being by myself. In my culture, like when you're with your family, everybody on Guam like lives with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when I moved to the States, I was like, okay, all these people live by themselves. Like, isn't it lonely? Like you're living with strangers, you live with your friends instead of like, well, because on Guam, your friends are your family. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Somehow they're related to you. But I think I'm just scared to live by myself. I could definitely afford to. And I think I'd feel lonely because I feel loneliness a lot. And I also feel ashamed I'm not married.
Really?
Yeah. Because my parents are like, when are you going to start dating? Who are you going to date? When is this going to happen? And then when I started dating a girl, they're like, you can't have babies with her. And I was like, yes, I can. But then I feel guilty, you know? Because we don't come from like American backgrounds per se. We come from like deep cultural backgrounds that have a lot of influences as a kid, probably still now.
Yeah.
So like when those things come up, I feel like deep shame.
I just want to hug you. Are you okay?
I'm okay right now, yeah.
I think but honestly, let me tell you, like you're saying for you right now, it's like you feel shame sometimes maybe for not being married or living on your own. But let me tell you, if you moved out on your own, you would still get, when are you going to get married? If you moved out and got married, then it would be, when are you going to have a baby?
Oh, it never enough with these people. And it's never enough.
Exactly.
And when you have the baby, they're like, okay, when are you going to have another baby?
Exactly. You have an only child. Girl, I need someone to play with.
Oh my God. Tell me why. So my brother didn't have kids forever either. I think when he was like 39, 40, he finally had like my nephew, which is the only kid in my immediate family. Hold on. We got a jet overhead. We're going to war with China.
Please don't say that.
God.
I don't have my bunker ready yet.
They're always flying over my school. They're always making the car alarms go off. Anyways.
When are you going to have a baby? When are you going to get married?
So when my brother had his first kid, it's like my sister-in-law, she had postpartum, like really bad postpartum. So I used to go to the house and she would like take naps when the baby was like sleeping. So she would go to sleep and I would watch the baby just in case. But like, it's almost like in their eyes, nothing's good enough. So, she has postpartum. Who cares? I had postpartum. I'm still watching the baby. I'm like, girl, it's not the fucking 90s, the 80s, okay? This girl does not feel good. Leave her alone. And she's asking for help. So, we go over there, we help her.
And I think that is so great that she has you to help her like that.
Well, he's big now. My nephew's like 2. But anyways, and then like, they have a bottle warmer. And then my grandma's like, bottle warmer? Why do you want to be so fancy? Just warm it up the old way. I'm like, nothing is good enough for these people.
See, I think what it comes down to is that it's like, because my family gets like that sometimes too. Like, so you know that I'm going to spend the summer in Mexico. My husband and I are both not working and we're going to spend the summer in Mexico. To my family, when I tell them this, I feel like I see it. Like, it's very like, but you're not going to work? Like, you're not going to work? What do you mean? Like, you're just going to be lazy and not work? It's like, I get that your upbringing and most of your life has been really hard, but why wouldn't you be happy for your descendants if they're having an easier time? If they have ways
It's like almost weirdly jealousy.
It's like, I suffered, so you should suffer. Yep. I don't think, at least with my family, I don't think that's the intention behind it. I don't think there's like malice, but yeah, I think it's very much like a trauma thing of like, we had a hard life. Why aren't you having a hard life? You know what I mean? Like, you're not as tough as us.
I know. I bought my brother a Mamaru for his baby when he was first born. My grandma goes, fucking Mamaru for what? Just hold the baby. Oh, I told you when I first moved to the States, there was a dishwasher on Guam. Nobody has fucking dishwashers.
Yeah.
I was asking my grandma, how do you use the dishwasher? She goes, girl, the dishwasher is your hands. That dishwasher is for storing stuff.
Girl, my mom uses her dishwasher for storage.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And I'm like, it's right there. Just use it, lady.
And technically it's like more economical and saves
Less
more
water.
money if you use a dishwasher. But they said no. They said no, that's for lazy people.
Dishwashers are for the weak.
But get this, on Guam we don't have a dryer, we only had a washer. Most people only have washers, not dryers. So when I came to the States, let me tell you, my mind was blown. Anyways, if they wanted to play that game, why do we have a dryer? On Guam, we just hang our clothes outside.
My mom still hangs her clothes outside.
See? I think they're just scared of the neighbors seeing that we do like shit like that.
No, but yeah, it's definitely a trip to think about.
So what did you think being an adult was like when you were a kid?
What did I think adulthood was going to be like?
Yeah.
When I was a kid? Oh, I have the perfect example. As a kid, basically I thought being an adult would be 13 going on 30. Have you seen that movie?
I have.
Okay, that's what I thought adulthood was going to be. I pictured myself as an adult just basically picking cute outfits every day and doing my makeup. And I thought there would be a lot more shopping involved. Like, I just thought I would be at the mall shopping like multiple times a week. That's really what I thought it was going to be. And I thought I'd be working less than I have, since I started working as a teen. I thought I'd be at work for like 1 or 2 days a week, and then the rest.
What the fuck? Are you
serious?
That's
what I thought. Like, I thought I would work 1 or 2 days at my amazing company of I don't know what I thought it was going to be, and I would just shop the other days. That's basically all I thought it was going to be. What about you?
So when I was a kid, I don't know, but when I was a teenager, in one of my math classes, they did that thing where it's like, okay, so you make this much money in a month. And
budget?
You budget. I think it's a budgeting assignment we were doing. They're like, you have this much money for a car. What kind of car can you have? You're going to get a house, an apartment. Are you going to rent? So they would budget. And I had so much money left over at this pretend job. I was like, oh my God, I'm balling.
Being an adult is easy.
But like when we were that age, I was like, where am I going to get this money? Like from this pretend job? Like nobody paid that much.
I know, like sometimes I would hear the grown-ups in my life, like my grandma or my mom, or like complain about groceries, like, oh, I can't make anything for dinner. I'm missing this. Or like groceries are so damn expensive. And I remember my head just being like, just buy a loaf of bread and make a sandwich. Like, what is so hard about this? But now I get it. Groceries are damn expensive.
I was just going to say that groceries are fucking expensive.
Right? And yeah, just.
And I always thought when I was a teenager, I was like, I'm never gonna have to work out. I could see people going to the gym. Like I was so thin as a teenager because your metabolism is crazy. I have to work out every single day.
Bitch, if I could go back, I used to eat mayonnaise tacos as a teenager.
Shut up.
I used to make a cup of ramen, and my friend started this. She's like, oh, you're gonna love it. I did love it. Now it sounds disgusting and like it would give me a heart attack, but yeah, there's so many things that you take for granted when you're young. I sound so old, but it's true.
I could eat anything. Now, girl, I can't even eat rice.
The struggle is real.
I eat fucking salad every other day. Everything is vegetables. I can't even eat real, like, red meat. Well, I could if I wanted to, but, like, weight-wise, I should not. So I eat all fake meat.
See, that's what I'm telling you. Being an adult is being able to do whatever the fuck you want and not doing it. Choosing not to.
Having the restraint.
Yes.
And discipline to be like, don't do that.
Because as a kid, I'd be like, fuck, when I'm an adult, I'm basically
fucking eating McDonald's every day.
I'm eating McDonald's and ice cream every day. That's my whole menu. But cut to now, not so much,
I was like, I'm going to eat fettuccine every day. No, bitch, I wish.
The self-restraint, that's what makes you an adult. Sometimes the self-restraint is tough, though.
It's like the pain of discipline,
Yes.
It's so hard.
Absolutely.
So do you think the American government, like, sold us this idea of, like, adulthood, like the American dream of being a grown-up to, like, make us easier to control? So, like, get married. Why? I mean, the tax benefits, obviously, but...
Yeah.
Not until a couple years ago could I marry the person I wanted to marry.
True. So, like, marriage hasn't even really been on the table for you.
Ever? No.
Like, your whole life,
Oh, basically. I thought you meant nobody wants to marry me. I was like, yeah, that's true.
No, the legalities of it, unfortunately. But I don't think it's like this big conspiracy theory that they're trying to control us. I just think at the time it was what was ingrained into our grandparents and our parents.
So it was like a generational thing. Every generation was like, hey, marriage, kids,
traditional values,
if you don't have kids, who's gonna get your stuff when you're dead?
Exactly. And then I think really what happened is, that recession hit, all these horrible things started to happen. And then, our little baby millennials now, can barely afford college. You can't buy a house. Like, how are you going to get married and have kids? Like, it was rough, bitch. It still is rough.
Dude, if I had the house prices those guys had back in the day, I'd have like 2 houses.
But I mean, when the recession happened, I was like
I was in high school.
I had just graduated high school. So that's what I mean. Like, we were babies. Like, I wasn't even thinking at that point of buying a house, or I was like, what am I doing after high school? Bitch, you're getting a job. That's what you're
Oh my God. And
doing.
tell me why nobody tells you about good credit. You have to have good credit for stuff.
Oh my gosh, this is a whole nother thing. But yes, were we prepared to go out into the world and be adults?
No.
I don't think so.
I was proud at my first paycheck when I had $400 in my bank account at 19. I was like, $400, girl, that's a lot of money.
The first time I racked up $1,000 in savings, I thought I could retire and do whatever I wanted. So, do you still believe in the American dream?
I mean, it's not made for us, to be fair.
No, definitely not.
It's definitely, we do not check off some of those things. I think culturally in my own culture, am I checking shit off? No. Am I making those people proud? Not really.
Do you think expectations for future generations after us, do you think they're going to change, or do you think it's going to continue to be these traditional, like, get married, have a kid, get a job?
I mean, I think they're going to change, of course, because everything, time-wise. But then again, history always repeats itself. Do you see how people are more, for a long time, they pushed more liberally in their view set, and now they're pushing more conservatively. So there's more people that are younger that are like, oh, it must have been nice to stay home, to be a woman and stay home and watch these kids. So there are girls there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different lifestyle than I know. Girls that are getting married at 18, 19, they're like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home wife. I'm going to have these kids, and I don't want a career.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Like, I don't feel like that's feasible for the majority. Like,
modern women
and just modern couples in general.
Just one person working, right?
Yeah, one person. That's what I mean. Like, any kind of couple, it's kind of hard. Like, I feel like you have to be well off to have one full-time stay-at-home parent.
So that's even another discussion, because that's classism. If you come from a set of parents that could help you, like, give you nepotism in certain career paths, to where perhaps you don't have to worry about paying for your college, or you don't even have to go to college. You're just going to work at your
already
family's
established
company.
For you.
And so then your wife can stay home.
Exactly.
And go to the yacht club, the polo club, the country club. And she can pop out these babies, and she doesn't have to worry about them, because you're going to have a nanny. I mean, not to say I'm not going to have a nanny. Girl, yes, I will have a nanny.
Yeah. No, I totally get you, but no, I agree. And I'm not mad at it. Just acknowledge your privilege, because let me tell you, if and when I ever have a kid, that kid's going to be a Nepo baby. Like, that is my goal. If I can't make my babies Nepo babies, then I don't want to have a baby. You know what I mean?
But, I mean, looking back, so we're saying that in the future, like, these people have to be well off. Like, maybe 50 years ago, most women didn't work. My grandma did work. My great-grandma also worked. I don't know. So everybody in my family, I come from a Brown family.
I know, and that's how, like, was it out of necessity, though? Like,
my great-grandma owned a bar and a fucking, mom and pop shop. And my grandma worked as, like, an aide at the school, and she went to a beauty school, and she had a salon. And then my mom had to work. She fucking had kids when she was a teenager. So that bitch has always been working.
Well, it sounds like you come from a line of badass, strong women. Mm-hmm. So good for you.
My white side of the family, not the same, though.
Your wife's side of the family?
No, my white side of the family. I don't have a wife, I wish, but
we're manifesting it.
We're manifesting it. But yeah, so like the ladies in like the white side of my family, I don't think necessarily all of them worked. I mean, they're lower class. They weren't, middle. They weren't even, middle class women. They were like lower class. So I think some of them did work. A lot of them didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole different thing. I don't know.
Well, that brings me to like, for me, I don't know about you. Let's talk about our least favorite things about being an adult. I'm going to tell you the first one, it's having to work, having to keep a job.
I like working. It keeps me out of my depressions.
So if you had the option, if someone was like, here's a field of daisies, would you like to live in this field of daisies without working?
Nope.
You'll have food, you'll have your needs met. You would say, no, I want to work.
Nope. Yep. Let me tell you, okay, let me explain myself, okay? Because I know some people are going to be like, bitch, you're crazy. During COVID, I thought it was the best thing ever. I mean, besides the world setting on fire, I thought it was the best thing ever at first to just stay home. I don't fucking really like people that much. I don't get along with people. I don't know. I think maybe just I'm naturally shy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I dislike people so much. Anyways, it was cool for the first 6 months, and then the depression. Girl, it started to creep in. I wasn't seeing other people. I have to be around people to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To see what they're doing, fashion-wise, socially,
Mm-hmm.
and then think about what I'm doing.
No, I totally get you. I'm at the point where, I've been working since I was 15, and I'm definitely at a point where I'm like, mommy needs a break. You know what I mean? So I get you, because I don't think I could just not work the rest of my life, but I think I just need to find
Balance.
Yeah, more balance. I feel like it's been too much work, not enough play, But yeah, to each their own.
But see, my gig is so different
Mm-hmm.
because like I work for the school district. So when the kids are off, I'm off. So unlike Denise, the summers are for me and spring break is for me. The weekends are for me.
That actually sounds amazing.
And technically, I work long term.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, if I wanted to be like a sub that bounced around,
Mm-hmm.
I could fucking work whenever I wanted to.
And see, like, I will say the job I currently work right now, which is also with kids, it's been for me probably the best job I've ever had as far as like work-life balance. And because any job prior to this, like, bitch, when we worked at Kohl's or any job I had before that, when I worked at casinos, any job, if you would have told me like, leave your job, here's some money, go take the summer off, you couldn't even finish the sentence. I would have been like, yes, bye. And now with this job, like, I'm at a place where I can take the summer off and that's going to be okay. And it was hard for me to like make that decision because I actually do enjoy and like my job, and that had never happened before. So it was kind of like, what is happening? But yeah, I just feel bad. I feel like a lot of adults are stuck in jobs
They hate,
and it's really just to make ends meet. And, it just ties to so many things that we're talking about. Like, you want to have one parent at home, but you both have to work. And these jobs are like sucking the life out of you. So I don't know where I'm going with that, but it sucks. I feel for you.
I think sometimes, don't feel for me, girl. I don't mind my job.
I just meant the masses in general.
The masses. Like, sometimes I go to my work lately because I think we're winding down to like summer for the kids. Mm-hmm. Lately, when I go to work, I'm like sad. I will admit that. And I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing in life. But I do acknowledge that I do it because it's, one, not as horrible as jobs I've had in the past. And two, I do need the money. And it does pay me way better than anything, like I've done before.
Mm-hmm. No, I get you. I totally get you. But that's what I mean. Like my job, I also like, I'm appreciative and I love my job. And I know that because I'm having a hard time of letting it go, even just for the summer. But sometimes I get the same feeling that you have, like, as good as it is, like, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, like.
Or like I feel sometimes like I'm wasting my time.
Mm-hmm. No, I get you. And that's what I mean. Like, I think as an adult, I think that's been the hardest part for me. Like, finding something to devote my life to that feels like it matters, you know? And we both work with kids, and I don't know if that's the case for you, but for me, I think that's part of it, that I get to see these little humans like grow and learn things and like become their own people. So that's been rewarding. But I don't know if this is turning into like an education podcast, but that's what I mean. Like, I think that's the toughest part and my least favorite part of being an adult. Like, just trying to balance finding your passions with like just the day-to-day grind of the adult responsibilities you have to take care of, you know?
So would you rather be, you know how some people are like, I'd rather go back to being like a teenager or a kid. Do you prefer being an adult?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. Like,
freedom.
There's less responsibilities as a teen or a kid, but there's also less freedom and less choices. Like, a lot of decisions are made for you, and that's something that I wouldn't want to go back to. And honestly, like, I'm turning 35 this year.
She's a queen.
And I feel like my 35 to 40 bracket, like, that is going to be my peak, hopefully. And hopefully it'll extend past 40, but I feel like, you know, as a kid, decisions are made for you. As a teen, I was kind of a mess, a hot mess, but I was a mess. And then in my 20s, I was a depressive mess. And I feel like just now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I'm an adult, and that's a good thing. And I can do whatever I want.
Dude, your 35 is my 25.
Well, see, we all get there at different times. And basically, as far as defining adulthood, for me, my personal experience, I think I could just wrap it up by saying that I feel like we're all just making it up as we go. Like, I don't know, like hearing you say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like I feel like, you know, it's just, we're all just on our own little journeys, and we're all just making it up as we go.
And you know, we don't all start off at the same place.
Exactly. I think that's another.
And we sure don't
point.
fucking all end at the same place.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm just trying to do my best as I go. And for a long time, that wasn't good enough. Like, I felt kind of how you were talking about, a lot of shame for, like, you know,
I felt like I feel unaccomplished.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And I feel like that sometimes too. But I think now, nearing 35, I've gotten to a place where I'm like, you know, I'm fucking here.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them and fuck it up. Okay?
Ending notes, fuck them and fuck them up.
Exactly. Like, I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want, and I'm going to live in that.
Enjoy yourself. Whatever makes you, you know, sane, you know, get you through the day. Besides drugs, don't do that, or anything seedy. You know, do it. If you want to eat that cupcake, eat the cupcake.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. Like, as I was like, you know, just reading articles and kind of taking some notes down for podcasting today, I really kept coming back to that. Being an adult is doing whatever you want. And then it made me kind of sad to be like, but you shouldn't do whatever you want. Maybe you should do whatever you want. Like, who the fuck cares? Because we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. And, you know, I do want to work on life balance. But what I'm taking away from today is that maybe I should do whatever I want. You know, maybe I will have pudding for dinner. Not every night, but, you know, what's it hurt? One night a week, or whatever the case is. Or, you know, maybe I will wear the colorful, weird outfit, and, like, who gives a fuck?
Oh my God, Denise, are you talking about me? When I wear my bunny jacket, I should have fucking worn it today.
But that's what I mean. Like, really, life goes by so fast.
Maybe being an adult is like healing the trauma from being a kid and a teenager.
Exactly. Oh my God.
I would never wear any of the outfits.
To that.
I would never wear any of the outfits, do any of the things I do when I was a teenager. I would be too involved in myself.
And what now, people think of you.
Exactly. And now I'm a grown-up, and I I readily recognize that most people don't give a fuck about what I'm doing.
Exactly. Everyone's so like
self-involved.
Exactly. And it's taken me a long time to like really let that sink in. And if you're getting there at a younger age than me, I love that for you. I'm so proud of you. But for me, like, yeah, I feel like I'm barely getting to that age where I'm like, I'm gonna sing at the top of my lungs at this concert. Sorry that you paid to hear someone else sing. You're gonna hear me sing,
Or do like, girl, I talk to myself at the grocery store.
You do?
I do. Sometimes I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? Or like, oh, well, I'm forgetting this. I'm like, I don't even acknowledge other people at this point.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much shame like instilled in us for just like regular existing and just regular things that bring you pleasure. And by that I mean like sometimes, it's a Sunday and I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna stay in bed and read this entire book and not get up. But then a part of me is like, no, like you're not gonna clean, like you're not gonna take care of these errands. Like, no, I'm an adult. I'll stay in bed if I want to. That's what I'm working for in 2023.
Anyways, everybody, what's an adult like being for you? Or how's it going? Or if you're not an adult, hi. You're going to be an adult someday, hopefully.
I know. The important thing is that you get there.
True. Snaps. Bye.
I can't snap with that finger.